Good morning, YouTube. Today I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to look over my shoulder and see what I do when I'm diagnosing for air conditioning faults. This machine happens to be my father's, and he all of a sudden had issues where the air conditioner stopped working, so he asked me to come and have a look for him. So let's get started and I'll show you what I check for and how I go about it. First thing was first, I wanted to check whether we had gas pressure. That should be enough gas pressure there to bring the clutch coil in to turn that pressure switch on. When it was running and with the ignition on, I've got no clutch action. So from there, I've disconnected our clutch wiring and the pressure switch wiring, and I took my test light. It happens to be in the cab at the moment, but I checked across the pressure switch and the clutch coil to see if I had any voltage there. I had no voltage at either of those, right? So the next thing to check is the fuse box, and I happened to find two blown fuses. I think there was one in there and one down here. Nothing's labeled, so I'm sort of guessing at the moment what's whether those fuses are going to be issues or not. I'm just waiting on some new fuses to come and get here, so I'll replace those two 10 amp fuses and we'll continue recording from there. So we got power there, no power here. She's a cactus. Same deal, we got power here, no power here. Some of these systems won't run the air conditioner unless the engine's running. We got power there now, and outside there, so we might have a problem with our clutch coil here. So I don't know why that's blown the fuses yet. The clutch is cycling in and out, so we might have a clutch coil problem there yet. It will only show up when it gets hot, but it's just one of those things you don't know until it happens. You can't force it to happen. So yeah, as simple as a blown fuse. I'll keep you guys posted if it develops to anything else, or if it fails again, and we can test to see if the clutch coil is failing. I tested it with the multimeter just to check its resistance, and it was fine. It had 4 ohms across it, so nothing there wrong until it plays up. But yeah, I didn't take note of which fuse came from where, but this 10 amp fuse here is blown, but it's only ever so slightly open. Okay, that tells us that the problem isn't huge, like it's not a short that would reoccur over and over again. It'd be a slow thing to occur. I have a feeling that this one here would have been the air conditioner fuse, and it's pretty well obliterated. Just blown to pieces. That's typical of like a dead short circuit, and possibly that clutch coil. Okay, so disappointingly, the phone fell flat, and I was only able to take a couple of photos from that point on, and I'll detail what happened,
So I noticed that it had absolutely nothing to do with the fuses. They were irrelevant to this problem in the end, because the fuses were replaced and the problem came back about an hour later after sitting for a bit after we had lunch. But it came back to it, and then luckily we had a diagram of the whole machine, and that saved us a hell of a lot of time trying to figure out where everything was located and how those circuits looked. The module ended up being located inside the evaporator box, and it was not a very good place for it. After taking a couple of voltage readings from the pressure switch, we noticed that the voltages were starting to fluctuate. So I went back to the ECU and measured from there, and found that the ECU was basically outputting faulty signals, not just on the pressure switch circuit, but also a couple of temperature monitoring sensors. So we pulled the ECU out and had a visual inspection, and it was noticeable around the perimeter of the ECU where the resin set into the housing that there was a very fine crack that water was able to get in. So we peeled that up and found that yes, moisture ingress has damaged this ECU quite badly, and yeah, my dad ended up getting spare parts ordered, and in that process he found that logged against this machine's product ID there had been 2 previous ECUs booked against it, so that led us to believe that this is not an uncommon thing to happen, and we definitely tried to fix it the 3rd time round. So obviously we haven't owned this machine from you, but what we found the root cause was the evaporator box sits fairly high up in the machine, and there's a little drain tube at the bottom where the fan motor sits. It had eventually, so the drain tube had clogged up, had a broken short and clogged up with mud. So that whole cavity in the fan box there would fill all the way up and submerge the ECU in water. That's what I have a feeling anyway. So it was basically ingress of water, which led to corrosion and all sorts of crazy things happening there. But yeah, we got the new one ordered 2.5 grand later, and I think that's before tax, so yeah, quite expensive. But now that it's in there, and we've rectified the drain tube problem, so we shouldn't see that problem happen again. And yeah, everything's sweet and all working. So yeah, thanks for sticking with it, guys. I've got some more content coming shortly. If you just hit the like and subscribe, and hit the notification as well, because I don't post very often, but when I do, I'd like you to be able to see all this cool stuff that I come across day to day, which might help you on your hunt for problems. So yeah, hit that like and subscribe, and share it around too if you know anyone else that's interested. And I appreciate you for watching. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.